Hot 6 GSL Season 2 Round 8 True versus Zest.
All right, we're in this game now. We have Zest in the upper right and True in the bottom left.
Yep. So standard openings so far, no sort of like proxies or anything like that, but it could be a forge opening actually for Zest. We've seen a lot of cannons on this map, even like double probe cannon where you bring the second probe, you like really commit. Because it's a good map, there's a lot of different places you can wall off cannons. And it's a two-player map where you know your opponent's spawning location is no matter what.
I didn't realize how many good cheeses there would be on this map early on. And
so look, it's going to be forge first. I think True did scout that. Yeah, he's going to see it. In fact, he may even block it. No. Oh, yep.
Okay, forge goes down. Zest unfazed, throws it down there. And again, this main force Zerg into an early pool here. We've seen a lot of great Protosses. You can cannon rush in the bottom expansion in this case on the bottom right side of the natural expansion for True, and also get a cannon over on the right side of that. And it looks like True, okay, he mined a gold mineral there. He's not going to expand there. Instead, he's going to send his drone out over here. And Zest with a,
actually, I don't know if that doesn't quite block.
No, that's a preemptive cannon rush, basically.
Yeah, in case
he sees it there and he goes, oh god, you know. Now let's see here.
It's gonna cancel that, I think.
No. There's no need. You let it finish. And there you go. He expands over here, on the far right.
Is he gonna actually commit to cannons over here? I don't think so.
Well, this is the weird balancing act of cannon rushing versus scaring your opponent into thinking that you might be cannon rushing, you know?
Yeah.
Now he goes over, he checks, he doesn't see any lings out yet. 2 just now hatch.
Well, with this, like, force some lings out, you know, they're going to come out anyways, but they got to stick around here a little bit longer while he gets his cannon up at home. His Nexus has already started. The third base that he has is hard to transfer drones to because it's a little bit further away, so it affects your mining negatively.
And this is really what the new age Protosses have perfected, this cannon rushing to a level I never imagined that people would be cannon rushing at. Where even just the threat of making the cannon there by the pylon and forcing the hatch over there, the second hatch where the third base would be, screws up the timings so much for the drone transfer, for your entire practice, that it can really throw off the tempo of the Zerg. And Zest has done this very well. We've seen SOS do this as well.
Yeah.
It's really impressive.
Well, let's see how they transition going forward. Zest likely to go Stargate again. We do sometimes see like Zealot drops on this map and Sentry drops too from time to time. But Immortal Ullins are basically extinct. Only Parting does that like on Habitation Station, like 1 out of 10 games he plays on that map. Yeah. So it's pretty much gone. So chances of that are slim, and it looks like a Stargate.
And there is a Stargate now.
Question is, does he go Phoenixes again?
He could go for an Oracle. That's been popular as well.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go Oracle last game because that's his style, but on that map it works well to go Phoenixes because there's so many overlords you can clean up, and then you have map control for this big, massive map with no vision of what you're going to do, no scouting whatsoever. It's so hard for the Zerg to get in there and find out. So I think Oracle more likely on this map, but it's really a preference-based thing because you could transition either way. There's definitely not a standard that's better than one way or the other.
It's really stylistic, and it depends on how you want to transition out of that. Try to get a lead. Again, Zest really highlighting in that last game what he's so good at, which is just keeping stability and ultimately having the perfect unit composition that his opponent can't really come up with a response. It is going to be Phoenixes. The Overlords just now spot it.
Yeah, he even sees it twice. It's like both Overlords got to look at it.
Yeah.
He's going to lose those Overlords. I'm not going to see anything else. First Overlord already under attack.
And he'll have the next Phoenix that comes out pointed towards the other Overlord. And this is going to clean up the Zerg's vision pretty easily, just like we saw in the last game. Now, I don't think we're going to see, like we saw in the last game, that weird Corruptor.
No, that
Queen,
was pretty wacky.
Ling, like,
I'd much rather expect to see Hydra Ling or like Hydra Roach.
Just something that's more commonplace. That seems like some weird build you'd encounter on the ladder. And you'd be like, what is this? And probably you wouldn't lose to it, but maybe you would if you're just like, what is this?
Or if you scout it like too late, whereas like Zest saw it pretty early on.
By the way, he did that strat in cross spots.
Yeah.
You know?
That makes it like, I mean, if you want to play devil's advocate, it makes it less expected.
I suppose, but also even more risky because if you spot it anywhere on the way, you have more time to, you know.
Right. Prepare it. It takes so long to get across. Even
exactly.
If you know, even if you saw it from the beginning, you just have so much more time.
So the Phoenixes are gathering up over here.
Goes Robo again as the follow-up. So basically the identical game to what we saw last game. He's going to get observers out on the map and take a third base. He's got the Lings cleared up at the third with his mothership core, just like the previous game. There are a few Lings outside of his base. They kill this Overlord. The biggest variation here is he didn't like try to lift a queen and cancel it.
I was surprised that last game, when he did lift the queen up, I was like, oh, this won't work, will it?
Yeah, maybe he just thought his rally was a little bit faster than it was.
Okay, so he's going to go ahead and get the robotics bay. Go ahead and get the armor upgrade as well. So this game, so far with the builds here from Zest, very similar. Well, actually, the same builds, essentially. Now, the third here is a little bit of a more different spot. It is, it does not have a ledge like, on the previous map where you could run a Colossus up. But I don't think that True would do that same weird attack. There's other more commonplace attacks he could attempt to do. But let's see here. The Phoenixes now go back out.
Yep, they back out here, getting a lot of damage done, though, first of all.
Yeah, and that's what's key. And you see the fourth down here at the bottom right? That's so easy for the Zerg to take. Any expansion from here on out after that fourth is a little bit tougher. This map, you really have to appreciate the size of the previous map. It was so big. You can't quite have a game that would look like the previous one on a map like this.
No.
Any expansion the Zerg takes after this fourth is going to be, nice transfuses. Any expansion the Zerg takes after the fourth base is going to be closer to the Protoss, easier for the Protoss to hit with the timing.
Yeah, like usually you don't even see the gold base taken as a fourth. Whenever you do see that, it's because something happened early on where the Protoss got a little bit behind in most cases. Or like the Zerg's fast expanding with gold because he got cannon rushed or something. He's like a bit desperate. A lot of kills here on these Phoenix. Not a single kill yet for the Zerg. He might get that Phoenix. Yeah, he does.
Yep. Taking that one out and really bruising the other one.
But let's see. I mean, he's getting Void Rays, Colossi, range coming out here. The Thermal Lances, he's got 1-1. Finished up as well. And, I mean, this is starting to look like a pretty solid third for Zest. It's really up to the Zerg now to decide what he wants to do with the Spire. Like, probably going to go Corruptors first, and then...
Okay, he's actually moving up the creep again. I was really confident he wasn't going to do this.
13 queens.
Let's think about this, though, man. This is a better map to do something like this. The second and the third aren't disjointed.
Yeah.
You can hit one and not the other, or you can pick your battles there.
I think he just needs to mash a bunch of cannons up right now because that's going to help against the Corruptors a lot.
The funny thing about it, okay, so for instance, the fourth is not even being used here. Yeah, if he just gets a bunch of cannons here, then this is a big waste of time, right?
Yeah.
He sent these queens all the way across the map for basically nothing.
And it's just expensive to bring that many queens. Okay, Corruptors now over here. He doesn't have as many Corruptors as last time either. Actually, only 13. Last time he had, what, like 19 or 20?
I really don't like the strategy, but let's see how this goes.
Yeah,
let's
it's actually
see
a cool
if this
experiment.
Works. Yeah.
It's like the control here is the build, the variable is the map. He only has 12 Stalkers, but some Zealots at the front, Void Rays to help out as well. That's going to be like so
He's
huge.
Very interested in holding third here, but of course he could just do an attack right here. Nice time warp there.
Those Lings actually may get through.
Oh my god, he actually warped in Zealots at the last second. I believe that's going to be a perfect block.
Yep, and now Colossi fighting against these Queens, and the Void Rays are actually fighting the Corruptors. So many transfuses, though. Start to see the crux of the build here is actually just transfusing the Colossi, or transfusing the Corruptors over and over again. The Lings should come and fight, though, and here they come.
You know what? The Protoss holds this so easily that any...
I see the idea, but it's just like not quite enough.
Here's the problem we do builds like this, guys, is this is just not going to beat Zest. This is like a really neat... back way in the day, we would call this in Brood War kind of a gimmick strat.
Yeah.
Like, it works in the sense that your opponent's like, what? That's, a lot of queens, but really, I mean, for Zest, all he has to do is have the cannons there, trigger the Nexus cannon.
There's no escape with this build. Like, the queens are not going to be like, oh, I guess I should just turn around here.
There's an element of this build that's a little bit like crossing your fingers here.
And now he's already prepared this time for the Phoenix, or for the Mutalisk switch.
I suppose, yeah, the Muta switch comes up here. The Protoss does stay, in fairness to True, the Protoss does stay on 3 bases and has to defend this next phase of the attack.
And he does lose a lot of units with that.
And it is a lot of mutas that let him control the map. I don't know if the mutas are going to be as effective as they were, for instance, on the previous map, because that map is just so big. Mutas become an even bigger threat.
Yeah.
But those mutas have now hatched here. Let's see.
24 of them in total. And Anion Pulse Crystal's on the way, now going up to 30 mutas. He just needs to get those Phoenixes out, and once he does, he should be fine. He's actually got the resources to make them. He's not making them. Okay, Scouts first. He's like...
I like he's still keeping the hallucinated Phoenixes Scout in there. It's really good. Now he's headed towards the main.
A lot of stalkers that
is
greet
that
him, though.
15 mutas there?
I think so.
It's 15 minutes in there, and I believe there's a few more coming up right now. They're going to connect here in a second. There's the rest, yeah.
Needs those Phoenixes out. He's actually still not making them. It's like he's just decided, I can hold this with Stalkers alone, actually.
Okay, so the Lings are grouped up here again. The Zerg is maxed out. This very specific timing here.
Yeah,
we pretty much have all the mutas that have made gathered up here. We're at about 34. I mean, this is more mutas than there are Stalkers, to put it into perspective, guys.
Yeah, that Mothership core pretty helpful here, too. He's going to want to use that right away.
And he's going into the main here where there's just no defense.
Yeah, he pulls all the probes away. Kills several of them, loses nothing.
And the hard part for the Zerg is he doesn't know quite how many Stalkers there are there. And he only sees the edges of them when they come up to engage, so he doesn't know that, in fact, there's less Stalkers than there were mutas.
That Mothership core could not have been later. He uses the Nexus Cannon after the Mutalists are gone. Now we're going to actually fight this straight up, and he's got Corruptors to support here, and the Stalkers are split into 2 groups. Is this enough? It's actually going to be a really good trade for True, I would argue. If he can get the Mutalists out of here now, just fly away.
The problem is the Lings are getting lower numbers, and then the Stalkers blink up here. And from there, he gets chasing him back. Now the mutas are actually headed up. So let's see if we can cut him off at the pass on the way up here. The probes are being evacuated. God, this game is looking so much like the previous game. The question is it going to end the same way?
The difference here is there's no Phoenixes for Zest. If he had Phoenixes, if he lost those Stalkers, it'd be fine. He could just chase and kill the Mutalists. But now he's like split in this awkward way where like every time he blinks the Stalkers to one side, the Mutalists just fly to the other.
I think
he's starting to be overwhelmed here.
You need to have Phoenixes to hold this.
He like has Phoenix range, but 2 Phoenixes. Okay, and only +2 here for the Stalkers. Just now finishing.
Okay, well, the Mothership core is still coming in over here. The mutas, there's just so many of them out here. They're doing so much damage to these cannons. And now the mutas and Lings are actually going to come up here. Again, guys, so similar to the previous game, but remember how that ended. Now the question is, has True learned from his mistakes? He's in a great spot. Actually maxed out where his opponent's at 100 supply here.
I think this is actually checkmate. This is just a done deal.
Well, he's got the Phoenixes, man. He can zone him out.
He's got like only 37 probes left, and he's got barely any Phoenixes. They're starting to fall here like flies. Too many Corruptors, and he's just got so much economy, the Zerg does, to just make more Lings and finish him off here with now like 78 Lings on the map and 14 more mutas on the way. I think he's just gonna swing the hammer.
It looks like Zest is gonna move out now, and this is definitely a mistake, and that's gonna be a GG. Nicely done there by True.
Brings the series back. Look at him, he's shaking.
It did work that time, and I guess you could see that he gets the Stalker count low enough that when there's enough mutas out, first of all, the Lings. So okay, so let's go back to the very beginning of that. The Corruptors and the Queens and the Zerglians hit. Now that doesn't kill him, but what he can do is make so many mutas. He gets about 30 mutas out. That's more mutas than there are Stalkers, and then the Lings are so cheap to make no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And the Stalkers can't quite deal with them. So what ends up happening is if Zest isn't perfect, and that was a map that's harder to defend on, there's nothing else he can do. So
yeah, I feel like the lack of Phoenixes there, even though he had the resource to make them, was kind of the crux of the problem. I think he was like trying to decide, do I want more Stalkers here? Because he had such a low amount of gas. He's got like 200 gas. He can either make Phoenixes here off of his Stargates, or he could make Stalkers, like 4 more Stalkers, but he went all the way to get the Fleet Beacon and the range upgrade for the Phoenixes. That's so much gas, so I feel like you've got to go Phoenixes after that.
Yeah, he needs just the right amount. We're going to go to a short little break. When we come back, we're going to go to game number 3 here with Zest against True.